Hey guys, we're here with the first look video at a new product from Invictus Practical called the Holster Hanger. Let's see what it does. Okay, this new product from Invictus Practical, the Holster Hanger, was born out of Kevin's, the owner's desire to have a little bit more adjustability and versatility compared to some of the holsters on the market that he had come across, particularly for drop and offset. So he came up with this plate. This is what you get is the hardware. I've got some of it out already because I was just starting to play around with it. There's spacers and offsets. And then basically all the hardware you need is here. It's even got the binding posts to put in the holster to grab onto. For my use, I use a Safariland ALS holster. The reason being that the retention on it is superb for 3-gun. I can run around, flop around and everything and never worry about that gun popping out of the holster. Other people just run straight Kydex and, you know, deal with it the way they want, but I know I've got peace of mind there. Now what I've been using is a QLS hook. And I've got it on the Safariland, basically a drop universal belt loop here with a receiver plate. And I basically play a little bit with the angle and such, and I can pop this holster off whenever I want. The problem is this real estate is still taken up. You know, I can't replace anything there. If I pull the holster off and wanted to put like maybe more shotgun shells for all shotgun stage or something like that. Not a problem. It's worked well for me. But having more versatility and adaptability and having more options is pretty much what Kevin's focused on with his shotgun caddies and with this holster hanger. You see all the holes here. I mean, this thing looks really slick in terms of finish and, you know, being well made. It's very light, but it's basically this hole pattern here allows you to put whatever hook up on this top part right here that you have. QLS from Safariland, the TMMS, the Tech Lock, and adapt that to whatever belt system you have. All these holes down here are for playing with different holster positions. So you've got basically your height. You know, if this is on your belt, like so. First of all, you got your adjustability on your belt a little bit, depending on what kind of belt you have. I've got a couple different hole patterns here on the Safariland EOS belt. But if you were, let's say you just had it in this position here, you can adjust your height of where you've got your holster, as well as a little bit of the angle that you want to use. And depending on what hook you're using, there's also some adjustability on the hook itself. For example, in the QLS from the Safariland, you've got a little bit of rotation ability there. So you couple those together and you get a cumulative effect of getting the angle you want. This particular holster hanger, I think it's going to depend a little bit on the holster you have. And in the directions here, you want to use particular binding posts that are shipped with it in the holster itself to engage for the screws that hold the holster on. Those binding posts match up with the hole diameter, the inner hole diameter of these spacers in order to get the offset you want. And he's got a little, on the instructions here, a little illustration of, you know, setting that up to be closer to the belt or farther away from the belt. What I've found so far, and I haven't done much, is the Safariland ALS has got these, it's got its own binding posts built in, and they're captured inside. They're actually covered up with a layer of the smooth felt stuff they use to protect your gun finish. So these are actually a little bit larger outer diameter than the inner diameter of the spacers. So I'd actually have to go without them to use this guy. But some of the versatility that this thing could give me is able to get this big honking thing off my belt and actually being a little bit lighter, a little bit lower profile package, as well as actually freeing up some real estate. Because if I put the receiver plate on here, I pull that off, I mean, I can stick, EOS plate on either side here to put other accessories on, for like an all shotgun stage as needed. So all you're going to do is put this guy on, match up a hole pattern that would work for you. Unfortunately, with this holster, it's a little bit limited on what I can do just because of the hole spacing. But I like the EOS and it works. So all I would do is put that on like that and then screw that in place. Now, as we're putting this plate on the holster, I mentioned that you could adjust the vertical drop of the holster. I can with this one if I just want to use 2 screws. It'd probably be secure enough, but I think to start out, I'm going to want to use 3 screws just for security and to check to see where that puts the holster vertically. If it's similar to what I've been doing and as I model it up and I like the position, maybe I can go to 2 and experiment, or just leave it at the 3 if I like it. So let's check it out. The other thing I found using the Safariland EOS holster with this is that the binding posts that Invictus Practical is using are a little bit smaller diameter. So here's an example of what you would put on the holster side coming through your holster if it didn't have existing, or if it had holes and you wanted to use their own, you needed the mounting, use their mounting binding posts, and it fits right into the holes. The diameter matches up. As I mentioned earlier, the holes on the EOS the binding posts on the EOS are a little bit larger diameter. So this plate actually is not fitting down over those posts. I'm not sure if you can see that quite here. So when I screw that down, the plate's actually going to bottom off right on the Safariland's posts. The next thing you're going to do is attach whatever hook that you're going to use on your belt. In my case, the QLS and Invictus Practical. Kevin's included a nice little diagram to show you which hole pattern to use with whichever hook you're using. So let's get that done. Okay, simple as that. We got the hook attached. I want to show you the nice hardware and aluminum plate that Kevin's doing with this stuff. It's the same type of stuff that he's using on his shotgun caddies. Stainless steel, stuff that's not going to rust. The aluminum is light, but he's got good forms to it, so it's strong, good shape to it. You can see the stainless steel hardware there and the nice binding posts. This thing, when you screw it down, it locks up pretty good. It's pretty tight. There's no wiggling around, so a little Loctite, if it makes you feel any better, be a good idea, so it doesn't walk over time, but looks good. Hey guys, just a real quick of what this looks like mounted up on the belt. Pretty easy, pretty low profile. You can see the size comparison of what I was using before. Need to adjust this a little bit for a height that I want and play with it some, but looks pretty good so far. And for me, where this would stay on the belt before, I can take this off and I can put something else right there, put a plate right there. Got more room. So looks like a pretty good product so far. Obviously can't complain about the workmanship and the hardware that's used. So again, check out Invictus Practical. Now, one thing you'll want to know if you're an EOS belt system guy, like I'm using here, is the QLS receiver plate holes don't match up with the hole pattern on the EOS belt. Simple fix is I just burned another hole with a soldering iron to match the hole pattern for that plate. If you were going to use an EOS, obviously it would match right up and drop your holster on. The QLS is really what Safariland meant to be used with holsters, and the EOS is with pouches and stuff like that. And you can see the size difference between the EOS plate and the QLS plate. So just a heads up there if you are using this particular style of setup. So now we've got a dropped holster. I've got it offset. I haven't set any of that. I have not run this in a match or even played with it yet to see where I want to adjust the angle or play with the offset or the vertical position. But you can tell how much real estate I just saved, and also convenience to get this on and off the belt. Now I've just got the receiver plate on there, versus having this hanging on there all the time. So it's a little bit more comfortable. You know, I've got a little bit more room. I could put another EOS plate here, or, you know, as I mentioned earlier, if you did want to run an EOS plate for your holster, I mean, you could stack EOS plates and actually move your holster around, adjust it based on if you came across something goofy in a stage, or if you're attending different styles of match where you might want your holster a little back a little farther, or you know, outlaw type rules where you could just put it as far forward as you want. So there you have it, the Invictus Practical Holster Hanger. Again, great quality, just like the shotgun caddies. You know, aluminum plates, stainless steel hardware. I don't think you can beat the value on these, and the versatility, and having it pretty much match up to how you want to do it. And with your holster, you might even have more angle and offset and vertical capability than this particular one I'm using has. So give it a look. InvictusPractical.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have fun out in the range.